Hey guys, and welcome back to another Juicy Bits. I'm in the studio with the lovely Kate Volman again today, and we want to share with you some frequently asked questions that we get when people find out that we're in marketing. So Kate, we were talking about this all the time. You know, you're out, you're networking, people know you, you're famous from the Juicy Bits series.
Famous.
People ask you, basically the same couple questions all the time. So give me an example of what people ask you all the time when we're out.
Oh, okay. So the biggest one that I get asked about now is because it's all about advertising and everyone's talking about Facebook. A lot of people are saying, I tried Facebook advertising and it definitely didn't work. I don't know what everyone's talking about. I feel like, I'm just giving Facebook all this money because these ads do not work. So really that's one of the biggest questions that I've been getting asked. And it's always an interesting conversation because as we always talk about, there's so much more that goes behind the scenes when it comes to marketing.
The iceberg, right?
Yep, the whole iceberg effect. And we really dive into what was the ad, what were you trying to accomplish, and then what results did you see? So it opens up this much bigger conversation, and we have lots of aha moments.
Yes, let me guess. So you start to say, well, what was your goal? What was the ad supposed to do? And they're just, you kind of get the deer in headlights look?
Yes.
Or they say, oh, well, I put, $500 in and I didn't get any sales. And it's just like this black and white, I just thought I'd get this like landslide of business from this one ad, right? Is that what you find all the
absolutely.
time? Yeah.
They hear Facebook advertising works really well. Hey, I'm going to put up an ad, spend some money, nothing happened, so it didn't work.
Yeah. And so one of the things I like to dig on is, okay, you ran this ad on Facebook. Had you run this ad somewhere else before? Did you run it, in an email blast? Did you run it in a magazine? Wherever else it was. And it's usually no, right? And so that tells me that we're starting with fresh creative, which means we don't know what the problem could be. You could have a sucky ad, right? You could have a bad value proposition. You could be talking to the wrong audience, Maybe you got the whole Facebook part right, but you got the marketing part wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you have to really step back and you want to isolate what the problem is. One of the analogies I like to use is the car and the mechanic.
Such a good one.
When you go into the mechanic doesn't come back after looking at your car for 10 minutes and say, I've got bad news. The car's broken. Right? They never say that. They'll say, you've got a problem with your muffler. You need new tires. The brakes aren't working. Like, the crankshaft is the thingamajig and the thingamabobs are out of place. Like, they're very specific. They isolate the problem. And sometimes there's multiple problems. But as soon as you fix that problem, the system as a whole starts working again. So I don't know why we look at our advertising and we just say it doesn't work. What's not working? Are you taking the time? Is the message resonating with the audience? Is it reaching enough people? Are enough people coming to the website, right?
Are you targeting the right people?
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of times people are just, again,
retargeting everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is too wide.
Because if people think that everyone needs their product or service.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually not the case.
So I think really what we're trying to get to here is that we're, because we're in the field, we're being much more specific and we're diving really deep. We're trying to isolate what exactly isn't working rather than throwing out the baby with the bathwater and just saying the whole thing's not working, you know what I mean? And so if this sounds unusual to you or this sounds foreign to you, then I do encourage you to work with an expert, right? And really understand, because it's very seductive today. They say, just put your credit card in and start running an ad and tomorrow you'll have customers, right?
So easy.
But yeah, exactly. They're not, you don't fix your own car, you don't do these other things like that. So what other advice do you have when people ask that question?
Like you said, it really is just diving into things, and it's really fascinating for a business owner when they haven't really thought through it, because you're thinking through, like, what are they even offering? Just the offer, and then especially where are you taking these people? You're taking them to a landing page. What does the landing page say? I was working with someone we talked about earlier, where the landing page was all about that company. It was just talking about the accolades and the awards and everything about this, and about how amazing the company is. Well, as a consumer, as a customer, I want to know what benefit am I getting, not all about your awards and that you just won some really great things in your industry. So those are a lot of pieces too that, again, it's not as simple as just getting up an ad. You have to really think through the whole process, and this is where I know you talk a lot about sales. It even comes back to the sales process. So maybe your ad is to call. Well, who's picking up the phone? Who's closing? There's just when you really dive into ads, it's not that simple. It really, you have to think through the entire process. It's the whole strategy that you have to really think through.
Absolutely. And I would say, when you think about the value proposition of the ad, we're talking about the messaging, right? Like, so what are you giving them for what you're asking for? I think a lot of people are very unrealistic. if you have no trust with a consumer, meaning it's the first time they've ever heard about you, you run an ad, blindly. No one's ever heard of you. You put it on Facebook. Someone sees that, and you're asking them to click on that ad and buy a $500 item. It might be unrealistic, right? I mean, maybe there's a snowball's chance, right? But it's probably unrealistic. You take that same ad that you're asking to buy a $500 product, and you send it in an email, or you target privately 50 people who've bought from you last week. Maybe now that's the right offer, right? Because these people know who you are, they were happy with you, they have a right amount of trust and credibility for you to ask that. So really evaluate what you're asking, what you're asking people to do. And maybe you need to scale it back. Maybe all you need to get them to do is sign up for a newsletter, come to a webinar, call for a free consultation. Maybe it's got to be a little bit lower friction than what you're doing.
And think through, I would say, sit down and really think through that whole process. Don't think about it as you, the business owner. Like, take yourself out as the customer, and would you click on that ad? If you clicked on that ad, where did it take you? Would you take action on whatever that offer is? So really think through it and work with your team too, because it takes time to generate the right ad, the right copy, the right types of things that people are going to actually take action on. So it takes some time to really put together.
Absolutely. So start simple, right? But be realistic.
Yeah.
And then once you have it running, test, isolate. Is it the message? Is it the landing page? Is it the product? Break it down. And that's going to bring you closer to success instead of just coming back like the mechanic did and said, the car's broken. It's not going to help you at all. So I hope that was helpful. I know a lot of people out there have approached both of us with that exact problem. And while it's not a solution, it is a system to diagnose what may be going wrong, which is a lot better than you were in the first place. So appreciate you guys being here. Hope everybody has a great day.